Would it be a world championship without a visit to America? I think we say yes on both of our sakes. Adrian Michael Riccio alongside Michael Swinnerton, and a classic venue nonetheless. The Corkscrew of Laguna Seca at the top of the hill. Title deciders have been made around here. Epic battles. And we hope to see the battles if the title is still far from over. But the favourites are at the front. The rear-wheel drive action of Alfa and BMW showing their presence. Honda trying to get their nose in once more in the top six, but we won't be surprised, well, if they do fall back. We will be surprised if they get a win in. There's some privateers in the mid-pack, and Swinney, we're kind of the furthest we've ever travelled, I think, between rounds.
Yeah, aside from our traditional trip to Japan at the end of the year, yeah, I think this might be the furthest. You're not wrong. It's going to be an interesting one, this, because we've not been here before. Typically, our American venue tends to be Watkins Glen. So I have a horrible feeling that, I mean, we're already seeing it with the qualifying results here, that this is going to be a rear-wheel drive preference track with how twisty-turny and tight it is. But I'm, open to being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, the form book implies it's going to be one or t'other of the front row or Fisichella Weber in the top six. Off they go. Up to Andretti hairpin. Renault a bit more present in the midfield after some poor qualifying sessions and some poor showings of late. Their title dominance at the start is under threat from the guys at the front, and it is definitely a Alfa BMW 1, 2, 3, 4, as Lammers and Thompson still okay, still in the top six, early days, but you have got the Tamiya Honda in 7th of Kobayashi as the traffic jam swarms underneath the Firestone Bridge. And already the spread at the front. I think we're in for a long one for race 1.
Yeah, we've got 14 laps to complete round here. It's not the longest lap in the world. But we'll see what kind of fireworks ensue. As we already see Palou getting a bit sideways, which he's done an awful lot of this year. So those Fords are still behaving in an interesting fashion when it comes to showing them corners. Breaking into the corkscrew for the first time. Ooh, Ekstrom a bit wiggly on the back end there.
Neatly behaved there. Then Gasho had alternate ideas about the corkscrew. Some Zanardi Rossi style shortcutting to be had potentially.
Yeah, the stewards are going to have to be very much on their game when it comes to looking at corner cuts and doling out driver warnings and what have you, because it's very easy to accidentally abuse it with the corkscrew because of how unbalanced and light your car is in all the wrong places going down it.
So as we stated, after Route 6, it is Renault drivers 1 and 2 in the championship, so the constructors is very tipped in their favour, but results like the one we're potentially about to see may cause concern for the French brigade. Felix Radel 11th, Salo 12th.
Yeah, another good showing for the Tamiya Honda. They had some good qualifying results and showed some pace previous round. So they're looking to capitalise on that and make a play for the Independence title at the very least. Especially with Kobayashi just a few places in front of Rydell here, comfortably in the top 10. If he can stay there, he'll have a very good qualifying position for race 2.
Very good qualifying, a very good grid position for race 2. But this is promising indeed. Kobayashi not necessarily out of place in the championship order. This is kind of surprising. Palou's not very happy about it, given the secondary wobble on he's had at the top of the corkscrew.
Yeah, I think the Ford is just going to do that every lap, and Palou's just going to have to get used to it. And I dare say Salo will be experiencing something similar a bit further back. As we see Ekstrom get another wiggle on, so that Volvo's doing similar things to the Focus in front of it.
And then Gasho threatening to pounce. Almost. He was there, but that Volvo, despite some technical disadvantages, now threatening Palou again. Andretti hairpin coming up. Let's see what happens. I didn't even flinch.
Another slight wiggle. It's allowing Gasho to get back onto the back bumper. This is definitely where the fight is at the minute. Although no one's quite close enough to really have a go at each other just yet. We can already see in the distance there, you saw the two Works Hondas just sort of by themselves, so the rear-wheel drive cars of the top four have just gone. So once again, we're looking at almost like a two-class system here of the front-wheel drive class versus the rear-wheel drive class.
Is that a worry? Do you think there should be a bit more of a balancing act being done? I mean, it's the balancing act is present, but around here, question might need to be asked. It's Palou. Oh, that was Salo, sorry. Salo right in the back of Felix Rydell.
Yeah. I will assume that was an accident.
Different opinions on the braking point there.
Yeah. I mean, if they've got two different setups on, then that's going to happen, where one car can be a lot more aggressive on its brakes, use its lift-off oversteer on corner entry to rotate it through the corner to then get a run out of it, whereas the Honda is being a bit more stable about things. But yes, to your point about the rear-wheel drives, they already run with a significant weight penalty to them. So obviously that can be looked at again. But honestly, I do think the other teams could just... There's every chance that they can find something with a car setup or you know, something and shine and take the fight to those manufacturers.
Other circuits have kind of evened it all out. So if it was going to be continuously like this, then of course I think the questions need to be asked. Down the inside, up to 8th he goes.
Job done. Very professional.
Teammate up to 11th, now ahead of Felix Rydell. The top four still pretty close on the map, but that might just be the illusion of a map tracker does. Yes. But through the infield at the start, it did look even closer.
Just running line astern in a nice pattern. Alfa Romeo, BMW, Alfa Romeo, BMW. I think all four of those cars are probably, for the moment, whilst the race is in its infancy here, just content just to run in that formation, not necessarily make any silly mistake or run the risk of making any silly mistakes trying to get positioned just yet. May as well keep this advantage while they've got it.
Race 1 is definitely banker points for the top four then, and then just capitalise on any mistakes in race 2 when they have to start again from the mid-pack. And then Honda, okay, fair enough that Honda, we've run a running joke that these guys aren't, doing all they set out to be, but the fact that they are the best of the rest, so to speak, means they are making the effort.
Yeah, well, we know that Honda is quick, and it always shows it in qualifying. So the fact that they're able to hold their own for the minute and just sort of run around by themselves in solid top 10 positions, that's the consistency they're after. Well, that's the consistency they manage. I mean, as we said in the coverage of the Japanese series recently, they just need to find a bit more out-and-out pace and raw speed to really make that consistency a title threat.
Gasho gaining on Felix Rydell.
Ingram all over the back of the Honda in front
Ingram for Felix Rydell. And I believe this is his first jaunt West Coast.
I believe so. I don't recall him ever talking about doing anything in the States prior. See these trainer cars. There's a lot of concertina effect going on with this little group here right now. No one is really sort of getting stuck behind another car, and everyone's sort of faster in different parts of the circuit, as we see Gasho, where he was once having to look in his mirrors to make sure Rydell doesn't overtake him. He's now on the attack on Palou. Is he going to send something into turn 1? Not quite. Palou gets a bit sideways, allows Ekstrom to have a bit of breathing room. Maybe he can have a crack at Kobayashi this lap.
Gasho getting momentum snapped away because Felix Rydell's over the back of him now, and Ingram falling back from Rydell too.
And Salo is catching the lot of them.
Aiello still trapped behind Bianchi.
Yeah, it's a decent showing considering this 3M team have just not been on their game so far this year. Very small amount of points. And I know Bianchi has a little bet with him and the rest of the team because, of course, he is one of the two rookies to come up from the Euro Series this year. So Bianchi is more focused on beating the BMW of Kubica rather than anything else.
And with more news, whoa, Bianchi with a wobble on. Still safe in the knowledge that Aiello is not capitalising on any mistakes that Bianchi just made.
Although Aiello has the faster
again.
car here, you can clearly see it. He just can't find a way past that Ford right now. I mean, Bianchi is still technically a Renault factory driver. He races for the Renault factory team in the Euros this year. So he is doing double duty, just like Kubica is for BMW. So this might not be the most sensible play from Henri here. But at the same time, they are still racing drivers. They're still going to race for their whatever position they can.
Open to interpretation. Politics should not, I mean, it could be a political move, and the franchise kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? In the manifesto that no political plays from different teams should be allowed to meddle with the results. So
yes, team orders and so on and so forth.
Priding themselves on the lack of political interruption.
Meanwhile, back in the top 10 fight here, Ekstrom definitely has Kobayashi in his sights.
Still proud to be in 7th place, not gaining on the other two. That is obviously a pace issue, and then the wake-up call from Ekstrom from behind into the corkscrew. Not the best place to do it. Here goes Gasho on the outside of Palou, but the momentum is lost. Is the switchback going to be on the cards? No, it is not.
Not quite. It was a good attempt. Kobayashi, yeah, just with the little hurry up on the back bumper of Kobayashi. I don't think that was a big enough tap intended to unsettle the car in front. Just enough to go, I'm still here, and there's more behind me. You need to get a wriggle on, mate.
That looked like a bit of instability from Palou again. I mean, evidence enough earlier. On board Ekstrom. Pace onto Andretti hairpin here. Will the dive bomb occur? Yeah.
There's a look. There's a look.
Oh, that's questionable. Another nudge on the left rear corner.
There was just enough of a gap there for Ekstrom to try his luck, but he possibly rather smartly backed out of it. These four have now broken away from Rydell and Salo, who's got himself in front of Ingram. So where it was one big group, it's now split into two smaller. Aiello is finally, there goes Ingram.
Has
a good opportunity.
There goes Ingram.
Opportunistic move. Meanwhile, Aiello's got past Bianchi.
Wait a minute, is Ingram going to the... Oh, okay, maybe not. I thought Ingram was going to get down the inside of Rydell before the ascent.
No, he's going to get him here at the straight. Just got a much better corner exit. Has the preferred line for the kink, and jobs are good.
Rydell, with the lack of momentum now, is Salo going to pounce? Not yet.
It's a little bit far back, although it'll be interesting to see what Salo does in the braking zone for the corkscrew. Salo's Ford might be a little bit more stable. He possibly has a bit more of a safe setup on the car.
Aiello pining for a switchback. They're still not getting it.
I think Aiello is getting bored at looking at the back of a Ford Focus and trying to find his way through.
At least it's a different colour this time. Only slightly.
And a driver that has no affiliation to your own manufacturer. Still line astern. Ekstrom still putting on the pressure onto Kobayashi. It does look like this group is now catching the Works Hondas in front because Lammers is now visibly closer.
Lammers still showing some lack of inexperience around this circuit specifically. Obviously very good showing, just as much as Kobayashi's is. And Kobayashi, this looks like the moment this lap, perhaps. Okay, there goes Ekstrom around the outside of Kobayashi. There's enough space for him to be done the inside before the big turn and the ascent.
He's got the line.
He's got it.
He's in between the two Hondas. Lammers could block Ekstrom here to allow Kobayashi back through.
Is it a mirrored move that Ingram... Okay, maybe not.
And there we go.
And then goes Kobayashi. Okay. Welcome back to 7th place, Kobayashi. Will he get 6th by the top of the Corkscrew?
Kenny Ekstrom just got himself mugged by a pair of Hondas. There goes Gasho having a look down the inside of Pelot. Can't quite make it stick.
Ingram is now up to 11th, as we saw.
We're now in the range of everybody tripping over each
Whoa,
other.
that was definitely a trip up down the inside, and that was
yeah, more tripping over each other.
Revenge for Bathurst, maybe not.
Oops, sorry, excuse me, pardon me, sorry. And now this whole train has caught Thompson, so it's now 3 Hondas at the head of this very long train because it's all smushed back into one group.
2 factory Honda Corks.
With a privateer rear gunner for good measure.
All the while, the top 4 are still in pattern. Lammers down the inside of Thompson. Okay, something is not all right with Thompson's performance then. If Lammers was the one to sort of show that he could try and gain on the top 4 then. And there goes Kobayashi, blocked by Thompson. Pelot around the outside of Ekstrom then. Will Pelot get down the inside of Kobayashi?
No, he's still alongside Ekstrom. Ekstrom, I think, pushed Kobayashi into the corner to try and maximise momentum.
All the while, we've got a Renault, and we've also got Ingram, who's put on a bit of a miracle move on earlier. He's going to be chomping. He's already chomped at the bit. He's done the inside of Ekstrom and Gasho, all in the space of one turn. Up to 9th he goes.
2 for 1 offer.
Pelot with the white. Is he going to get 3? That's interesting. That's a bit of a shortcut, if I may say so myself.
I think that corner cut was just a avoid the potentially spinning Ford. But yeah, Ingram with a 2 for 1 offer on blue and yellow cars. It's a good start. Ekstrom, the big loser out of all that. Now down to 11th, outside the top 10.
Rydell still knocking on the door of the top 10 as well. But Aiello and Bianchi, big gap to Bianchi. And there's Suarez and Mertz. Oh dear. They're trying, but we've seen better days from that, and it's a sorry state of affairs at Volkswagen. We hope that this new
playing with the privateers all the way at the back, that's not what any manufacturer wants.
And top 4 are very much spread out. I think we can have the call. We'll declare that with 3 laps to go, but we want to see this battle now. We can see Ingram, not only is he satisfied with 9th, he's satisfied to take the rear bumper of Pelot's Focus apart somehow.
He's going to be careful he doesn't crack the radiator doing things like that. But Ingram definitely on the warpath. That was
brave.
That was, as they say in America, a slide job.
Slide job. Have you ever?
Well, now I have. But yes, Ingram seems to have got the red mist on because he goes right around the outside of Kobayashi. He's had enough of this.
Weetabix normally kicks in first thing in the morning, not 11 laps into a touring car race.
Maybe it's the morning back home in the UK. Where has this come from?
I mean, okay, we'll time zone, breakfast and time zone logic aside, he's now preparing to shake down the 2 Hondas with 3 laps to go.
Yeah,
and he's on the case already.
Because it certainly looks like it. Good smooth application of power there. The Hondas are slightly pulling away, so I don't know if he'll be able to send it into turn 1.
And all this for the front row positions of race 2. So now would be the wiser time to, be able to stay where you are, get 4th on the grid for race 2. Kobayashi somewhere behind this lot, Pelot as well. These Hondas. Okay, another nudge. That was a bit.
Ingram can carry a lot more momentum through the apex of that corner, and I don't think other drivers quite have the confidence. That's twice now he's been caught out and gone into the back of another car.
You could see the tin foiling on the front bumper there.
Yeah, there are some dents. I think he's got a cracked headlight as well. So Volvo are going to have to go into their parts bin. What a move!
Why did nobody see that coming? I mean, there was another lap or so ago. It was the last lap. Deja vu. I have been in this space before. As so as Polo, nudge on Kobayashi through the corkscrew, still behind him. Gasho, Ekstrom. This is the try. But we've probably just seen the move of the season.
Yeah, that was, I mean, we've seen 2-for-1 deals go in the past, but that was...
It's not even 2-for-1, he's an entire six-pack in a whole race. He's downed an entire six-pack. Someone check his blood sugar levels after the race.
He is now the proverbial grand wizard. Meanwhile, race for 10th continues. Ekstrom just on the outside looking in here. He's going to want to get that place off of Gasho if he wants to get a pole position start for race 2. We saw Volvo do very well at the Red Bull Ring for race 2 because they had the entire front row to themselves. Late race drama notwithstanding. If they can replicate that again, they'll be sitting very pretty as they're already getting into a protracted battle with Honda in the Constructors' Championship. So it's those Civics are their target right now, so being able to get one over on them will be very helpful.
Wait a minute.
Look.
Oh, sorry. Still looking at the track. The fourth place is starting to dip for the back. I thought for a moment there that Ingram was... that's that many Weetabix that he's that close. No,
he's pulled away, but he's not there yet. He's not going to have enough time to get to the front four. He might be able to nick fastest lap off of Sabine Whitman, who is currently looking at getting maximum points with a win and fastest lap.
And top four definitely nailed on for fastest lap as they go into the last lap. This train still won't slow down, even though the engine of that Ingram is now at the front of the pack. About to cross the line now. Let's see what his lap time is. And it still hasn't patched.
It's a personal best, but it's not an overall best.
He's going to find another 3/10, but with the front end damage, maybe not. Maybe not. Lammers, Thompson still 6th and 7th.
Front end damage, plus he will have burnt his tyres out going through scything through the traffic like that.
And yeah, anyone worth their salt would be very pleased with how today's race has gone if they'd moved through the field as much and as stylishly as Ingram has this weekend.
Especially with a track like this. Anyone that says you can't overtake around Laguna Seca, well, Exhibit A, Anthony Ingram and a Volvo.
About to complete the final lap, leaders through the corkscrew, but let's keep on this mid-pack because this is where the action has been, thankfully, for race 1. Normally they've been a bit dormant. We shall see what excitement lay in prospect for race 2 when the top 10 do get reversed, but this is the battle for who will get pole and who will be stuck in 11th. And that, Whitman across the line then. Maximum points, maximum effort. Schneider 2nd, Fisichella 3rd, Webber 4th. We know where the championship is heading, but it's still down to who exactly is going to do that. Drive of the race, if not drive of the day yet. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Very promising race that the entire paddock are going to take with interest to see if he ends up with a factory drive. Maybe not. Let's see what happens. That is the stuff you get noticed as the rest of the field go through. 3M with the solitary point. Good for their privateer prospects, but Wickens dead last. We shall have to explain what's going to happen with them in race 2 because we are in America. News has been made of what the Super Touring franchise are going to give us. It has been confirmed, but we'll give you that news in race 2. But yeah, it goes without saying, Ingram just made that race more interesting than it actually was.
Yeah, absolutely. Star of the show there, taking very opportunistic moves around the outside of corners that you'd never thought would be possible, but You know, the kink has some banking to it, and it's one of multiple banked corners on this track, so it is in theory possible, and he showed it. He showed it in spades. Now the question is for race 2, now that we've got the 4 rear-wheel drive cars starting 10th, 9th, 8th and 7th, will they be able to cut their way through the traffic and get back to the front, or will we see a different group of names at the front of the field for race 2?
It's almost as if the entire fleet of front-wheel drive cars will have to operate as their own team to prevent the dominant force of race 1 from doing what they did again when we return to action later on this evening. Under traffic lights, not so much floodlights. It's going to be a sunset race, dusk race. The sun will be down by then, but there'll still be enough light to go around, and I can't wait to see it. On behalf of Michael Swinnerton, good race to everyone. Stay safe in Wales wherever you are.